Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I decided to dig through my glitter drawer and try and create a nail design around glitter that I don't usually pick up. So here I'm only going to use one gel polish today. I was trying to with my finger just there. It's a very nice colour. I've actually been picking up so much more often recently. It's a white, but it's a very milky, creamy white. It's literally gorgeous. I love it so much. I got it from AliExpress ages ago. So if it's still available, I'll have a link in the description. But I've noticed a lot of the time that AliExpress gel polishes seem to be disappearing now. You can't really get Macat on there as much. You can't get Vanalisa. It's like a lot of stuff are disappearing. But this is the glitter that the whole design was around. So I was looking through my collection and thinking, right, I always pick up the fine glitters. I have recently started picking up the more hexy shaped glitters, but I also have these little circle ones. I'm not quite sure if you would still call those glitters, but I don't know what else to call them, so I'll just call them glitters. But they're really cute, very nice and cool looking. So I have this kind of rainbowy shade circle little glitter there. I do also have other kind of mixtures of circle glitters. I have one that's white, pink and black. I have one that I think is like blue, purple and white. So I have a few different mixtures of colours, so you don't have to specifically use a rainbow one if you didn't want to. There are other colours out there, and the glitters I got were from AliExpress as well. So if you're wondering, that's where I got them. I do wonder if they are on Lyracy. Lyracy is a great place to get your glitters as well. So I'll leave Lyracy in the description if you wanted to check them out, and if I can grab the link for that glitter as well, I'll leave it in the description because I think it's beautiful. So I have applied 2 layers of that gorgeous milky whitey shade. I am now also applying a base coat there, but you don't want to cure the base coat, so I'm going to use the base coat as my glue. So I'm actually applying a fairly generous amount of base coat onto this nail, and that's mainly because I wanted it to act like a glue, and I kind of want the glitter to kind of submerge into that base coat, so when we cure it, it's all gonna stay nicely in place. In case you're using a very thin layer, you could go in with another layer of base coat on top after you've applied the glitter to kind of help smooth out the nail and not make it as bumpy or gritty. You can also apply a builder gel or any other different, maybe like a clear acrylic or something like that, just to encapsulate if your little circles are kind of sticking out too much, just to make sure you have a smooth nail. So time to apply the glitter. So they are very glitter heavy. So we're going to do kind of a different circle glitter placement on each nail differently. So for this first nail, I'm going to focus the glitter at the bottom, mainly at the bottom, maybe roughly halfway. I am kind of focusing it more to the right a little bit. Once I'm happy, I will start applying the glitter on the top left hand side a little bit, kind of sliding to the left a bit more than the right. I hope that makes sense. I really have fast tracked this clip it here, so it's going almost ×2, I think. Double the speed, just because it's just a lot of placing the little circles down. It is a little bit time consuming, just because I was trying to pick out the colours so that they're, you know, you don't want the colours to be next to each other, the same one. So I was trying to mess about, you know, move them around. You will also notice later on that I did about 3 nails before popping into the lamp, and notice that because I did place a very generous amount of base coat down onto the nails, the glitter started sliding a little bit. So as soon as I noticed that, I was like, right, okay, I need to place them into the lamp as soon as I'm done, happy where I've placed the glitters, just because, you know, you're strategically placing them and you don't want them moving about whilst you're working on other nails. So you will notice that after about 3 nails, they disappear from the background and they're just getting cured. So there we are, we're almost done with this nail. Yeah, I'm just moving them about, and once I'm happy, placing them back. So the next nail that I'll be working on is going to be a line kind of placement. So I'm going to start off at the top. You can do right in the center, you could do slightly to the right, slightly to the left. The reason I'm doing this line placement for this glitter is because the stamping plate that we're going to use in a moment had these really cool dotted designs, and it was like dots in a line kind of combined together. You see that in a second, but I thought it would be so cool to add it on there on top of where we're placing the glitter. So we'll get to that later on in the video for the stamping part of the video. So you're just placing it down in the line. Preferably you would want to kind of keep comparing it to the stamping plate, making sure that the glitter is only as long as the dots are as well. You could also probably do it a manual dotted little design. You'll see in a moment which design I'm talking about, but you could probably do it manually too, but luckily everything was on this plate, so all the images and everything we're going to use from just the one plate. So this is why I disappeared from the screens, because I was comparing it to the plate, making sure that the dots are, you know, just as long as the lines are. Next up, we're going to do the middle nail, and now that one is probably the most fun one because you can just go wild. So I am just going to scatter those little dots across the whole nail, and that's because the plate that we'll be using had a couple of full cover images. Initially when I was when I was kind of trying to design this nail off camera, I decided to pick up some dots that were very, very concentrated. It was just way too much. So with the nail being in the background full of those little circles and then a bunch of dots on top of it was just a little bit crazy looking, so I did have to redo this nail. And I picked one that was a bit more spread out. The dots were not so close together on the stamping plate, and it looked way more better for sure. It wasn't as kind of in your face. It was just way too much going on. I love when things, like a lot of things are happening, but that nail, boy, that was just too much. Too much. So there, I'm just finishing up that almost. You can also not place it as concentrated as I am here. You could also scatter them depending how much you have. Also doing it the my method way. So I was dipping my brush into the base coat and then picking up the little chunks, but the problem there was I was doing it in the cap where the glitter came from, so now I have base coat residue on the cap, and now it's just a bit of a mess there. So don't do that. Maybe just like take a bit of that glitter and place in a different pot because now I didn't want to get rid of all that glitter. It's all basically stuck there, so I'm gonna have to figure something out, kind of scrape them out and still use them because it's such a shame. It's quite a lot of glitter to get rid of from that cap. It was all kind of stuck, and just don't do what I do. Okay, see, so the 3 in the background nails are now curing. So now it's time for our 4th nail. For the 4th nail, I decided to kind of concentrate the little circles top right hand side. Then I'm going to do a little chunk on the left hand side in the center, in the middle of the nail. And then I'm going to place just a couple of them at the bottom as well. And that will be that one done. And lastly, for the last nail, what I'm going to do is do that align placement for those dots again, but rather than doing it from the top, we're going to do it from the bottom going upwards. So we're going to kind of flip it around and make it look a little bit cute. We don't have any crystal placement today. I felt like this design was very busy, incredibly busy probably, and I kind of really wanted to concentrate and make it quite simple. I kind of wanted to show you guys that sometimes all you need is just the one color, one type of glitter, whether it's circles or even hex or anything like that, because this would look very beautiful with hex glitter too, maybe some colored hex or something, and then one stamping plate, preferably some kind of abstracty, dotty, some flowers maybe. And all you need, that's all you need, just 3 things really: a stamping plate, the glitter, and 1 shade of gel polish, and you can do something very similar to today's nail design. Of course you won't have it identical, but it will look just as great, I'm sure. So I'm sure in the future I'll probably be messing about with more other glitters and doing something similar, maybe even chucking some extra crystals in there too. But yeah, so I'm just adding some extra glitter to that final one before popping it into the lamp, and then we've got this one to finish off. So just going to place that. So when it comes to the stamping plate, I will be using the Nicole Diary L38 stamping plate. I've had this one for a very long time actually, and it was one of those that it was out of my collection. I always have this little corner where I keep my stamping plates where I kind of want to create something with, so they're usually stamping plates I've not used before and I want to get do something with them. So I have a little collection, and that one has literally been there for the longest time, and I don't know what recently happened to me, but I've been picking this one up way too often now, which is so crazy. I think this might be my 3rd nail design using this plate now in the span of about a month or 2. There are a couple of other videos coming up using this plate, so it just shows that sometimes, you buy a stamping plate, you don't seem to be drawn to it, just give it some time, do maybe take it out, take a look at them sometimes. That's sometimes how I try to get myself inspired when I don't know what to do. I start bringing out nail art, start looking at things that I have. Sometimes you forget what you even have, to be honest, in your collection. So stamping plates or even foils, I bring them out, place them in front of me, then I put them away. I just kind of really try to see what I have to see if anything sparks. So there we go, there's the stamping plate. It's beautiful, it's large, there's so many different images you can do. That's why I probably was able to do so many different ones. So a little tip there as well. With dots, I've noticed the best method to stamp dots, even though I didn't do the best, lines, even though I didn't do the best of jobs in today's video, but the best way to stamp lines would be with one of those little square rectangular stamping jellies rather than the circles. Every time I try to stamp a line or something that's supposed to be straight with a circle stamping jelly, it just doesn't work. It just never comes out straight. I don't know what kind of master mind you gotta be to stamp it like that, but I just never been able to. And I've been watching Manuology. They're an amazing stamping company. They do great plates. I do have a couple of them. Sometimes they film videos using their products too, and I've been kind of watching them just to see, you know, the different techniques they are offering, any new products releases and all of that good stuff. And they once done a video about stamping lines, or maybe it was involved in one of their lives or something, but they said that they always, well, no, they didn't say, they always use the little rectangular kind of stamping jelly. And I thought, right, let me have a look, because every time they stamp, they always get the lines straight. I really want to give it a go, and literally it was amazing. It's just crazy how much the shape of a stamper really impacts the way you're able to stamp something. I'm sure you can stamp straight lines with a circular stamper. It's just something I've never been able to achieve, and I just find the rectangular one so much easy to use. Here I was also trying to be incredibly efficient and pick up 2 images together at the same time, well, not at the same time, before stamping on 2 different stampers, just because we are using gel polishes. They are leaving a tacky layer behind, so we don't have to rush. Once you pick it up, you can take your time before you're stamping it. Going back to the actual nail design that we're stamping and placing down, I've already done those lined ones in the background, so you can see where those lines are kind of combined together. There's a couple of lines here made with dots, so I've placed it where we've got those little glitters. I didn't do the best of jobs, they're a bit wonky. When I did this off camera, I did manage to place it very well and it was straight, so I don't know what happened when I was filming, but it just wasn't working. And then I'm trying to pick up just random images that I thought were pretty. I really wanted to combine them, and I'm kind of placing the images strictly on where we've placed the little circle glitter. Kind of. I'm kind of trying to make it like abstracty. I think this would class maybe as an abstracty nail design. Who knows? I feel like for abstract there's all different criteria. I feel like there's all stuff, different things that could fall under abstract, so I'm not quite sure if this one would. I would have to figure out to see how I title today's video. But yeah, this plate is great. I really highly recommend it. You can get it on AliExpress. I think I only paid a couple of pounds for it. I did get it a while ago, so I don't know how prices vary these days when everything has gone up crazily, so it might be a bit more expensive, but still incredibly worth it for sure. I definitely see a lot of clients wanting images from here. Even if it's just the one, it's just so cute how they combined flowers and little dots together. It really, really creates a nice look. So here I stamped some dots as well next to the flower, because of course I wanted just way too much on this nail, and I've placed too many dots, so I just went in with some acetone on the lint-free wipe and just scraped away anything you didn't want. I do use a lint roller to get rid of anything off my stamper that I don't want anymore, just to clean it up. So we have one more nail to go. That's the final one, and this is the one that we're going to fully cover with dots. So we're at the bottom. I'm going to move the plate up. There we go. So initially I went in for the left, the far left image that's full of dots. That was my idea at first, and yeah, it was just not the vibe. It was just way too much. So I thought, let me pick up these dots. It's almost giving like a I don't actually know what pattern this would be, but it's really cool. I quite enjoyed the full cover vibe that it was giving, yet I could really still see the little glitter seeping through, and it wasn't covering it up fully, so that's kind of what I wanted to go for. If you didn't want to stamp on this one, you could probably even do a glitter nail, or just maybe left it even fully empty and just with the milky background and place some crystals on there too, if you wanted to. I'm using my round stamper to stamp it down. There we go. They're looking so cute. They're kind of giving me summery vibes, I have to say, just because they're a bit neon and they're quite bright and colourful. I literally cannot wait for the summer season to just get straight into neons. You guys are going to get neons literally every day. Like, yeah, it's going to be a bit bad, I think. There's going to be neons and flowers and just beaches, and just, you're going to basically feel like you're on holiday every time you come onto my channel. So I'm going in with a top coat. I'm going in with a matte one from McCart. I feel like I always say it, but I just love matte top coating stamping. I feel like it just brings out the design even more, especially when you're using black stamping polish. I just feel like it really, really brings it out. So I also wanted to kind of mute the glitters a bit more, so doing the matte top coat has definitely muted them. They're still very nice and you can see them, you know, coming through, but it is a bit more muted. It's not as much in your face, and I feel like the design pops a bit more on these little circular crystals, circular glitters when it's matte top coated. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to finish that up. I am going to pop them into the lamp for a quick cure. They're going to go all matte and you can see the final results now. So here we are. They're all done. I love them. I love the matte. I think they're so cute. If you really wanted to add crystals, maybe on the ones where there's just the line, the ones where we place the dots at the bottom, one at the top, maybe those. Who knows? It's just a crazy set overall, I think. But I love how they came out and I hope you guys liked them too. So if you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I would love to see you all in my next video. Bye guys!